Outside it's between 7 and 13 degrees Celsius each day, so things are starting to warm up as we move slowly towards springtime. Meanwhile, the bees need feeding. Some are pretty good for stores, the hives feel well nailed down, whilst a few others are feeling light, and whilst it's relatively warm in the daytime and there's very little forage outside, it's important to keep them fed. So I'll be cutting up some fondant. I buy it like this in 12.5 kilogram boxes of baker's fondant. Relatively inexpensive, you can get it for about £22 a box. Some people choose fondant with additives produced by companies like Hive Alive. I don't find that to be necessary. The bees on the whole have plenty of pollen inside the hives. What they need right now is carbohydrates. There are a few crocuses outside. I've seen yellow pollen coming back into the hives, in some cases white pollen, which perhaps indicates a little bit of late flowering ivy. Otherwise, the pollen's coming from mustard and a few crocuses and other bulb plants that are out there. So I'm going to cut up the fondant, get it into bags and get ready for the weekend. Interesting British flags on a box of icing sugar. I'm not aware of any sugar plantations in the UK. There we get it. This is usually sold to people who do baking and beekeepers. That's how it comes. Big slab like that. I've got some small plastic bags. These are for putting my 2-year-old's nappies in. Fortunately, these haven't been used yet, so I'll pinch some of them for the bees. I'll aim for about, I think, 1.5 kilos, 1 kilo to 1.5 kilos in each one, which tends to be roughly that much. Try to do it without cutting your fingers off. It's too early in the season for protein. There we go, I'll go for that. Stick it in a bag. Of course, the reason for putting it in a plastic bag is to try and reduce the chances of it drying out. There's one. And when it comes to it, I'll just rip it a little bit. I've got queen excluders in almost, well, all of the large hives have got queen excluders in them. The nukes haven't. I'll just put it straight onto the frames. So the reason I put it on top of a queen excluder is just to try and reduce the incidences of it dripping down onto the frames. I know some people say, but the bees consume it. Right, they don't want to consume it off of their own bodies or all over the place. Let's try and keep it, I try and keep it a little bit neat and tidy in there. If it's a larger colony, I might put 2 of these in there. We'll just see what stores they have. And in general, I try to, even if I think they've probably got just about enough, I won't take a chance. I can't predict what the weather's going to be like in the next few weeks with tremendous amount of confidence. I think it's going to stay pretty much as it is now. But knowing that they've got something in there, at least gives me peace of mind anyway. And even if I don't use them all this weekend, I mean, this stuff lasts forever. It's sugar, as long as you don't let it dry out. I think even if it dries, you can pop it in the microwave on a low setting for like 30 seconds and it will get softer anyway. My kids love this stuff, so I try not to cut it in the house. I'll probably put that, it's big, but I'll put that into one bag. That'll go in one of the bigger boxes, I think. Good. I've just remembered I got this box of Posh fondant. So these are 2.5 kilo bags from Ambrosia. Look at that, lovely. So similar to the people who use Hive Alive or other pre-packaged fondant products, you just make a circle here and you place that over the cluster, if you know where the cluster is. I've got a couple of colonies on this at the moment. I'd forgotten I had more. This is nice to have. This is obviously all already prepared, ready to go, but it's nice to finish off the rest of that box and put it in bags. I'll take this with me to the other site so it's ready for when I need it, if I need some backup.